Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Most Merciful. I would like to welcome you, dear viewers, to another in the series, In the Light of Islam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May Allah's peace and blessings be on each and every one of you. In this segment, we are continuing with our questions on Hajj. The unusual questions, which are not usually found in any books explaining about Hajj, but which nonetheless have a great importance and significance to those who are contemplating making Hajj or those making Hajj themselves. In the previous segment, we answered two questions from our sister Seema Beg, who wrote in from Ajman, and there remained a third question. She writes in her third question, what is the state of Hajj of one who does not pray regularly? These are very interesting questions. Our first question was Hajj for those working in banks. We pointed out that it's not acceptable because of the fact that the earnings for those working in banks, these are Western commercial interest-based banking, is not halal. So by using haram wealth to make Hajj, this of course is not acceptable, unless they get the wealth from some other source. The second question was concerning the visiting of the Prophet's mosque as a necessity for Hajj to be completed. We pointed out that it is not a requirement, it's recommended, however, not a necessary part of Hajj. The third question, the state of one who makes Hajj who doesn't pray regularly. We know that a person who doesn't pray regularly is in a very dangerous state. That irregularity of prayer could be a sign of disbelief in totality, or it is disbelief in action, but there remains faith in the heart. Because Prophet Muhammad, may God's peace and blessing be upon him, had said, the distinction between the believers and disbelievers is salah, is regular prayer, is the establishment of regular prayer. Whoever abandons it has fallen into a state of disbelief. So the person who doesn't pray regularly is in a state of disbelief, in action. Regardless of what their intention is, in action they're in a state of disbelief. However, they are not considered to be truly in a state of disbelief in the full sense, meaning that they are headed for hell without any shadow of a doubt, unless they are praying irregularly out of disbelief in the obligation of prayer. That is, if they believe, they are not praying, they're praying once a day. They don't believe that the other prayers that are required of them in the day are required. They say, it's no need, I don't have to pray. One prayer a day is enough for me. I am a special case or whatever their argument is, but they don't believe that there is an obligation of 5 prayers on them. They say it's only 1, or 2, or once a week, Friday, or in Ramadan only. Anyone who holds that belief is in fact a disbeliever. The one who remains a believer while praying irregularly, once a day, once a week, Ramadan, is the one who feels that they are supposed to pray 5 times a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. But they are lazy. Out of their laziness, whatever, they don't do it. But they're not denying the obligation. Such a person has not disbelieved in his or her heart. And of course, ultimately that is between a person and Allah. You know, we on the outside can only judge according to what they are doing. In the Islamic State, a person who refuses to go to pray regularly or to maintain their 5 times daily prayer is instructed to do so, and they would be executed if they didn't do so. Their state ultimately is between themselves and Allah, whether they're executed as a disbeliever because they didn't believe in the obligation, or whether they were believers but were lazy. This is the Islamic law. This is how serious prayer is taken. Now, such a person who doesn't pray regularly but believes that they should be praying regularly, is their Hajj acceptable? Yes, it is. Because a person, if they are deficient or irregular in some aspects of their worship, for example in fasting or in paying their zakah, it doesn't mean then that the other aspects of worship are cancelled and are of no value. No. A person may be irregular in prayer, but in going to make Hajj, they have made an intention to change their lives, to turn this whole situation around. So they go to make Hajj and they pray all the way through Hajj, very sincerely making the Hajj. When they come back, they'll change. Now they've established the prayer. Of course, their Hajj is acceptable. Perhaps that Hajj is the one which will earn them paradise. Their sins are forgiven. However, if one is irregular in prayer, out of laziness, one goes and makes the Hajj, then one comes back and falls back into the irregularity of prayer and laziness, then that is a sign that the Hajj was not accepted. It was not the accepted Hajj in the sense that it erases all previous sins, it earns a person paradise. However, aspects of that Hajj may be accepted because some aspects they may have done sincerely and Allah will reward them for having done it. And the obligation of Hajj is removed from them by doing that Hajj. So, our question then has a number of different aspects that we have to look at. We can't just say flatly, one who doesn't pray regularly, there's no Hajj for them. It depends. If they're not praying regularly because they don't believe regular prayer is obligatory on them, then their Hajj is not accepted because they're in a state of disbelief. If they're praying irregularly out of laziness and they make Hajj and they return to irregular prayer out of laziness, Allah may reward them for aspects of that Hajj. The Hajj may be accepted in the sense that the obligation of Hajj is removed from them. But it won't be the Hajj which erases their sins or earns them paradise. The Hajj which will erase sins and earn paradise is the one which will turn that individual who was praying irregularly or committing other sins into a person whose life is changed on their return. They will start to pray regularly.